All right, well, today's video is going to be a mess, so bear with me, and it's going to be pretty much updates of what's going on with the build. So let's get into it. So, bottom end's put together, getting the cylinder head surfaced, and I gotta get valve springs put on them still, but today we are focusing on the brake lines. I got all the hard lines removed, all that's gone, and I got the finished lines brake kit installed, and it is amazing. Torque tube is back together, bearing got that knocked out, so that's ready to go in. Transmission's ready to go in, but we're gonna admire this finished lines kit. I went ahead and put a new AC Delco master cylinder because the old one was, as you can see, a mess. Just a bunch of black crap down in it. I figured for $80, might as well just throw one on it. But you can see how this kit comes. This kit is 450 bucks, but for I think 40 bucks more, you get a rear proportion valve so I can adjust the rear brake bias. I'm not too stoked on the bracket I made to hold this. You know, a lot of the stuff I seen was letting the little hard line hold it, but I didn't like that, so I just kind of made something up real quick. It's solid. But this kit is phenomenal. I love it. Like this big ABS that bolts right here, the ABS unit, is just getting it out of the way is so nice. But as you can see how this kit is, your rear brake lines going to the back. We'll get to that in a minute. I used a bunch of these P-clamps from Harbor Freight just to tuck it on the firewall. Well, not firewall, just the frame rail. Look how nice that kit is. So that line runs over, and I relocated where my lines come in for that. We'll get to that in a second. And then this side just tees off and comes right through there. But I'll show you what I did on the brake lines. So before, my wheel was cutting into my control arm. We got the FDF lowers on already. And these brake lines from Drift HQ, they're really long. And the way I run them before was straight to where the line connects. The bracket, which is right there now, I got it welded to the bottom of the frame. It was right here, and you can see where my wheel is. The bracket actually bolts here, puts the brake line right here. So I was actually rubbing into my hard line with my tire, and that wouldn't have been good if it would have rubbed through. I mean, it got the line pretty thin. Like, it was very brittle. So now we have it attached there. Our line goes out and back that way. But that set me up for putting this line in a better position to keep it from rubbing. So instead of shooting it from here that way, I'm shooting it around the front of the coilover. It comes around this way and ties back in there. So now when I move the knuckle, the line doesn't move a whole lot. Move my tie rod. So now when you go lock to lock, your brake line is just kind of floating there. It's not really touching nothing, because right around here, I don't know if you can see, I got like rubber from the tire rubbing the line. I started wearing through the coating on this. It's a steel braided line with a nylon coating. So my plans with the line, I'm gonna use one of them P-clamps. I'm gonna take this wheel bearing bolt loose, put this line in a P-clamp right there, and that's just gonna let this line, as you can see, it's gonna come in contact with the upper control arm before that line. I'm gonna kind of pull it back like that. That way, whenever you turn the wheel, as you can see, it doesn't turn it doesn't move a whole lot. That's just a whole lot better of our routing. On the C6 Corvettes, your brake line bracket's right here. It comes in between the control arm, not here where C5 rubs. So that's done. Everything's good there. Now we'll get to the rear. So as far as the rear goes, as you can see out, I love being able to adjust my rear brake bias. This car being a 2000, the fuel return is at the fuel filter. So it doesn't actually have a return line for the fuel line. You have One line, that's it. So that leaves a middle slot for where a return line would be. So I just utilize that to hold my brake line going all the way to the rear. So you can see it just kind of lays right there. Like it just fits so good. I put it there and we'll go into the car and show you how I run it. All right, so you see it hooks into the factory spot. And this was just such a good upgrade. So pretty much you can see where the line comes in. We'll go back up here and we'll show you where I got it coming from. So this right here is the holder that I was just talking about. The line just runs. It snaps into where this return line would be so perfect. Snap in there. Snaps in right there. And it follows. And it snaps in right there. And then I just run it up like that. This is the driver's rear brake line. As you see, it just screws right in. Another P-clamp. Then it hits the T right here. So pretty much this is the line that comes down and through there. I just got it zip tied there, it's out of the way. And that side does the same thing. Another P-clamp. This brake line kit is well worth the money. You know, when I first bought it, I was like, all right, it's just gonna be a brake line kit, but the way they put this kit together was pretty nice. So yeah, that's on, that's done. That's one less thing I'm gonna have to worry about. Next, I'm gonna focus on getting the torque tube and trans in. I can't use my lift because I got a car tore down on it. And I figured it's not gonna be that hard to throw in. I'm gonna drop the subframe in the rear, get the transmission torque tube just setting in there, get it bolted up. And then once I get the head back on the motor, I'll get that sitting in there. I get to use my nice AMT motor mounts. These are gonna be super nice. But this part shelf is starting to overflow. And now I'm just picking from it, putting parts on. New fuel filter I need to go ahead and put on. The rack and pinion and power steering pump has been sent off to turn 1 steering. So they're getting rebuilt. I'm getting a level 2 performance upgrade on the power steering pump. The rack's is gonna be a stock rebuild. But yeah, we're coming along. And I did decide that AC is going for right now. I'm gonna leave the evaporator, everything in, and just block them off. That way, if I do wanna put it back on, all I do is get a new condenser, because my condenser from going off track at Rockingham a few times, it's just, it has so much sand, big sand grains built, like I can't wash it out. I tried, and at this point, I just need to get this car back together. If I wanna throw AC back on it later, I can, which all summer last year, I never used it. So I'm just not even gonna focus on that right now. I just gotta get this car going. Like, we have less than a month and a half to get this car ready for testing, and then we're going straight into competition, I think around May. So we're cutting it close. So at this point, I'm just picking parts, putting them on. I was gonna go ahead and put all this stuff on, but they gave me some Ackerman washers for a mega kit that I don't have, and I didn't get the sleeves to bolt these on. I got my eccentric lockout for the rear. These are, man, this is just a nice setup. I'm being spoiled with all these nice parts for this thing. But I can't do these right now, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and do the TIC Performance master cylinder for the clutch. That is in this box. So we have our remote bleeder kit. Got our adjustable master cylinder. So let's get this thing installed. All right, I've been knocking things out. I got the TIC master cylinder put in for the clutch. That was a little bit of a pain, but I got that done. And I'm gonna show you the layout I wanna do for my radiator. I really wanna do it this way. I feel like it will scoot more air this way. The C7s come this way. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of do it a different way. But ain't much to see on the TIC master. Man, it just goes in. It's a pretty nice little kit. Just goes in like that. Picks up from your fluid from your factory reservoir. And the line that comes with it's got a nice heat sleeve. As far as the radiator goes, I just stuck the old one back in just to kind of mock it up. I want to be able to use the factory fans because they actually pull a good bit of air through them. But I think V'ing it like, well, not even a V, like just tilting it forward will help it scoop air much better. Because I'm opening this up. My brake ducts are gone so I can get more airflow. But the way this thing is set up, with the radiator tilted the other way, you have to rely on air dams under here that I don't have anymore to scoop the air, which I never had a running hot problem with this car. But I honestly feel like it will scoop more air this way. And my hood's aftermarket, which I have hanging up there, has a nice vent there. So with the fans being set up this way, it's just gonna try to blow up towards the hood and being able to work on it easier. I've already decided to ditch the AC. I'm not completely getting rid of it, but I can always put it back if I want. But yeah, this is exactly how I want to do the radiator setup. Make some nice mounts, and it will make working on the motor so much easier. Because you gotta think the rack's here. Your balancer is right behind the rack. So your motor's here, being able to have all this room in the front. When the radiator's tilted forward, you can see, can't even see it on this side, right here. This is where your radiator mounts. So your radiator runs across right here, right in the way of even being able to work on the car. These cars are a pity to work on. But doing my radiator this way is gonna make it way easier. All right, well, I think that's gonna do it for this one. I just had to give you guys an update and let you know where we're at with the car. We're getting it done. Like, I'm gonna try to have it done by the end of this month. And that's very doable, but me working, I work a lot, so it's hard for me to find time to work on this during the week. When I get off, I'm ready to go home, see my kids, and get some rest. So if you're tired of looking at or watching the videos or the working on the car, click right up here. You can watch me drift it. And this year is gonna be a great year. So I appreciate you watching. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. It helps me out a lot. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Appreciate you watching.